you're out with the Colne Valley Beagles, a happier pack you won't find. They cover the moorland, they run many miles, then go back with a song on their mind. The season, it starts in September. They hunt the brown hare and the blue, with their waistcoats of red, their jackets of green, and their beagles of three-coloured hue. And their beagles are eager, the weather is perfect, they're in for a very good day. There's a hare in the field and the hounds have her scent, so let's get them off and away. There's 75 packs of beagles, too many to put in one song. So we'll tell you of 5 of the finest alive, and we'll hope the rest don't take it wrong.
Welcome to a day's hunting with the Colne Valley Beagles. My name's David Sill, Joint Master, and we'd just like to show you around some of our typical country. The Colne Valley's always been sort of looked upon as a working man's hunt, with close connections to the local woolen mills. Obviously all these hills were full of sheep, and then there was the woolen mills in the bottom, and it's sort of a Colne Valley Beagles have always been part of that. Meets in the old days would on a Saturday were 10 and 2. A lot of people used to work on a Saturday morning, and then they come out of the mills and go hunting in the afternoon. James Swanbury, our huntsman this season, this is his second season actually, but with foot and mouth and one thing and another, we've not had a full season this time. But he's doing a good job. He's just laying hounds on now. I think somebody's had a view further up the valley. Normally we find hares in the bottom. It's quite well haired, this country. A lot of small holdings, obviously as you can see, typical Yorkshire dry stone walls. There she goes away up towards the top, nice and steady. Hounds a fair way behind. You can see the wind blowing, and it is causing problems whenever hounds get into an open, exposed place. And it's throwing them off a little bit. And normally you find hares in the fields along the valley side, and they'll make their way up onto the top and skirt the edge of the moor and back round again. Good country normally, good scent, plenty of grassland, a lot of sheep, which is a problem. Quite a few hares on this side of the valley. And normally this meet would see probably 3 or 4 brace maybe at the top side. Normally this is a meet where we do get quite large fields. They're settling back on the line, making their way up on the top. But this was a bitterly cold day, and the field wasn't up to its normal standard. But we could quite possibly get 50, 60, 70 people on this meet. Well, membership-wise, we were a couple of hundred members. Plus a lot, local farmers and sort of people on the fringes all the time who turn up for social events and things, and there's quite a lot of people involved. Our hounds in kennels at the moment, we've only 14 couple plus this year's pups, so we did cut down a little bit this year. Normally breed 2 or 3 litters. This year with 4. Decided to breed an extra litter this time. That's Stuart Shaw running, our senior master. James Swanbury again. He was doing a good job since he came last season. We do have the best part of 700 landowners on our lists, and those are all people that are to contact each year for the various meets. So we do get in this typical area a lot of small holdings. Some people with just one or two of these small fields. There's people with a couple of horses, perhaps, and they're all obviously all to contact. Our rapport in general with the farmers is excellent. We just have to fit in with the sheep, obviously, are our main problem, so we have to fit in around that. She's seen her away again. Our Honsek, braving the elements. That's Merrill Walmsley. Another snowstorm starting again. Our country goes from Huddersfield, the outskirts of Huddersfield, on to the east, up over the Pennines, over into Lancashire, probably sort of 10 miles over the Lancashire border. We also have a patch of country the other side of Rochdale, which is much further to the west. And then in the north it goes up to Keighley, and to the south to the edge of the Peak District, sort of almost to Glossop, where it all borders on other hunt country. Basically, it's a strip of moorland, semi-moorland, the high part of the Pennines, and the surrounding and the valleys, running off it. This is a typical February day's hunting for the Colne Valley. Cold, plenty of snow usually. Although these last few years has not been too bad. But scent in general after Christmas isn't as good as it is in late autumn and early winter. We hunt twice a week. Saturdays and Wednesdays throughout the season. We do struggle for the occasional Wednesday meet, I must say, but over the last few years our country has been a little bit eroded, built on. We're not even this meet. We're not a long way from the M62, probably a couple of miles at the most from the M62 motorway, which 30 years ago cut right through the middle of our country, which obviously limits us either side of it for a certain distance. But we do have a lot of this type of meat, typical sort of Yorkshire hillside meats, where there are enough hares and not too many. Numbers of hares have stayed constant as far as we're concerned for as long as we can remember in these areas. On the highest part of our country, which goes back sort of to the south of our country, towards the Derbyshire, Lancashire, Cheshire, Yorkshire border, parts of that moorland, blue hares are very common. You can walk a while sometimes to find them, but when you find them, you find too many in a lot of respects for hunting. but there are a lot about. But we don't find them at all to the north of the A62. We find them almost right up to the road edge on one side of the road, but not to the south, but not to the north. It's strange, really. But we do have quite a few white hare hunts now. So we normally have them after Christmas, and sometimes the weather is pretty poor. Some of them are in quite inaccessible places, but with a fair walk. But you know, some good day sport can be had. Some of our junior whips dressed for the occasion. Believe it or not, this is the same day. There she goes across the side. I think actually there's someone walking up the field there and turns her by mistake. In a normal season we would catch perhaps between 12 and 16 brace a season, between white or blue hares and brown hares. Here they come now. As you can see, when they get to exposed parts, they just tend to struggle a little bit more as the scent gets less. They do say in these parts that once the hare's been turned, she loses the scent. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, but they say that hounds struggle for a while after that. Whenever they're in a sheltered part, then obviously the scent's better. But you can see where they go down the field, they go a few yards to the right of where the hare went. You can see what the wind is like. So I think they're all on now, going pretty well. It wasn't an easy day for them on this particular day. Our typical uniform, or should I say not typical breeding uniform, we're famous for our red waistcoat. Scarlet and green are our colours. I'm not just sure where the red waistcoat comes from. Perhaps some of the hill packs of beagles are, you know, have a lot in common with the fell packs in Cumbria, and a lot of the traditions, the singing, and perhaps the dress as well. This is looking down on the village of Slathwaite. Typical old woolen mill village. Most of the mills have gone now, at least the wool trade is, but Colne Valley Beagles have always had close links with the mills, mill workers. It does keep us in contact with the community as much as possible, I think, without necessarily, you know, trying to do. Because if you're in the town bottom and we're hunting on the edge of the hill on a Saturday, you can hear it. You know, people can be doing the shopping in Slathwaite or Marsden and hear the hounds up on the hillside on the Saturday morning. So there is still quite a lot of contact. that's the A62 in the bottom there. Right to Manchester, left to Leeds and Huddersfield. There she goes, almost ran into the camera. I'm looking a bit weary coming up this hillside, I must say. But certainly the hunting in this area has been going on for, well, we've got records going back into the mid-1600s. Not always the Colne Valley Beagles as such. I think a lot of the villages had their own packs at one time, going back into the last century. And they merged, and we've got the nearby Home Valley Beagles. But there were certainly different packs of harriers in this area that slowly merged and became the Colne Valley Hunt, and then that became the Colne Valley Beagles in 1952. And they're away again. She's making her way back up onto the top. And she'll sit up there for a while. And if the scent's poor, she won't be troubled again. There's the moorland in the back. Nothing on there. But hares do skirt it and run onto it and come back down. Perhaps the odd pair will breed there on the edge. That's not a moor where white hares are found. It's a little bit too low, that. But where we do find white hares are further out towards to the south of our country, on the edge of the Peak District. The breeding of our hounds really goes back, I suppose, 20, 30 years. Our main lines go back to Cheshire and Ampleforth. The hounds that over the years have stood us in very good stead. And I think that's the end of the day. Back to the Rose and Crown, to one of our famous Colne Valley songs.
And their beagles are eager, the weather is perfect, they're in for a very good day. There's a hare in the field and the hounds have her scent, so let's get them off and away. There's 75 packs of beagles, too many to put in one song. So we'll tell you of 5 of the finest alive, and we'll hope the rest don't take it wrong.